What's up, guys? Python here, back with another video and the off-season content. Here we go. So we're going to be doing something that I said I would do on Twitter because I put up a poll asking you guys who you think the New York Rangers #2 center should be next season. This poll ended up getting 261 votes. I really do appreciate every single one of you that voted. And the options that I put up were Pierre-Luc Dubois, Andrew Copp, Vinnie Trojek, and other. So in terms of how these vote percentages ended up playing out, we had 39.1% go to Andrew Copp, which was weird to me. In second, we had with 30.7 of the votes, we had Vinnie Trojek. Then Pierre-Luc Dubois in third with 19.5, and then other was 10.7. And in terms of the other comments we had some Filipinos in there, which we'll talk about him. I don't know. We had Bergeron comments, Mark Scheifele. So we had a couple different candidates here for the job, and we're going to be talking about a couple different players here that I think could be potentially the #2 center for next season for the Rangers. Before we dive into that, though, be sure to leave a like on the video if you do enjoy it. If you do enjoy this type of content, subscribe if you guys are new, especially if you're Ranger fans. We're going to cover the Rangers here on the off season very highly. So let's quit the pitter patter and let's get at her. So Bergeron is the guy that I did want to start with because to me, he seems the least likely, just because of his loyalty to Boston. I really don't think that he's going to leave, and I think that the chances are slim to none that the Rangers do end up getting him, but never say never, I guess. But we're going to talk about him in this hypothetical world that he would leave Boston to play somewhere else. So Bergeron, to me, if he is willing to leave, he is probably #1 on my list because I don't know if you know this, but he has not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 Selke trophies. And didn't he win this year? So 5 Selke trophies. So yeah, not too shabby there. You have a guy that puts up anywhere north of 60 points at the very least, usually. He did have in the shortened season, he had 48, he had 56, but he dealt with some injuries, I'm guessing, considering he only had 61 games played. He is pretty much a point per game player, though, at the end of the day, and he would just slot so perfectly at the #2 center role. Just, my God. Look at the face-off percentages, too. Over 60% the past 2 seasons. You have over 50% the 3 years prior. And the lowest his face-off percentage has been is 50.3, and that was in 07-08. Yeah, sign me up any day of the week. Sign me the hell up. In terms of possession metrics, because I like to look at that, Corsi 4 at even strength, 64.1%. Not too shabby. Not too shabby. The last time his Corsi was below 50% was 2008-2009. And that, even then, it was at a 48%. And outside of 2 seasons, or 3 seasons technically, his Corsi has never been below 55%. And it hasn't been since 2010-2011. Yeah. You could, I don't know where I could sign up for Bergeron to be a Ranger, but I would absolutely love to find out where, because he is certainly #1 on my list. He is certainly #1 on the list, and I'm guessing for sure he kills penalties, which, yeah, sign me the hell up. But it's very unlikely that Bergeron is in the mix here. So we're just going to move on, and that's going to be more of a pipe dream. But we'll see. Vinnie Trojek. Now it's just not in any particular order. These are guys that I think that realistically the Rangers could 100% get. So Vinnie Trojek, he is someone that I would really, really love on this team. Really love. So his career high points, 75 in the 2017-18 season with the Florida Panthers, and that was in 82 games played. So what your concern might be with Trojek is there seems to be, at least from the number perspective, because I haven't really watched enough of him, it seems like there's a bit of inconsistency with his point totals, but at the same time, I mean, I don't know. In the times that he didn't really play full seasons, he still was putting up a good amount of points, but I really would like him because face-off percentage, yeah, sign me up. His face-off percentage hasn't been below 50% since his first 3 seasons. Not too bad there. Possession metrics at even strength. Corsi at over 55% this year. And it's been over 50 pretty much his entire career, and except for that one outlier. Even then, 49.4%. Very, very strong there. And the one thing that maybe you are concerned about is the amount of penalty minutes that he takes. But is it worth it for a guy that wins a lot of faceoffs, could get under the opposing team's skins? Who knows? He would probably be one of my top options. I'd put him behind Bergeron if I had to rank them so far. But I think that Trojek would be nice. Speaking of guys that get under your skin, Nazem Kadri. How about a Nazem Kadri for you? He's another one where with the money, it's probably not going to work out. But again, we could dream here. This is just all guys that they're going to target. And I'm sure that they should at least throw a name in the hat. Whether they don't get him or not, whether they get him or not, it is what it is. At least they should be having conversations, in my opinion, to see if he would take a discount. Unlikely, because he's been pretty much on a discount his entire career. But again, you might as well. You might as well try if you're Chris Drury and company. So, as we know, Nazem Kadri this past year, career high in points, 87 points in 71 games. The big concern with him is next time he has any sort of big hit, you got to question how long the suspension will be. But I'm very willing to take that chance, considering the guy wins faceoffs. The guy is great defensively. I don't know why I kind of sound like Tony the Tiger there saying great, but he wins faceoffs. He could slide in on the power play, kill penalties, and point-wise, he definitely puts up a good amount of points. And if he plays with Artemi Panarin, that's only going to go up. That's only going to go up. In terms of his possession metrics, his Corsi 4 at even strength. Yeah. Especially the past few seasons. Yeah. Over 55%. So, Nazem Kadri would be very ideal. He'd probably be second on my list ahead of Trojek out of the guys that I've named. But he's another guy where it's like, is it realistic? Is it realistic? Next, Pierre-Luc Dubois. Very realistic here because Winnipeg, what is their trade market right now? We don't know. But it does seem like Pierre-Luc Dubois might be on the move. And he is someone that I would go crazy for on this team. The one problem that you might have with him, he doesn't win a lot of faceoffs. But the guy played with Artemi Panarin. And without Artemi Panarin this past year, 60 points in 81 games played. Not too shabby. He's only 23 years old. He's only going to get better. He was a 3rd overall pick. And he's probably not going to cost you that much. His possession metrics, over 50% Corsi his entire career. First season, 56%. I don't know what years he's playing with Panarin there, but it was over 50% Corsi with there. Shorthanded, does he get a lot of time? Is the question. Does not seem like it. But, I mean, the guy produces. The guy produces with, and to have him with Panarin again, yeah, I would absolutely love that. Would I put him ahead of Nazem Kadri? Probably not. But I'd put him ahead of Trojek. I would. Next, Filipino. Obviously, an in-house name there. And to me, I would not do this. I wouldn't do it. Yes, Filipino had a outstanding postseason. There's no question. But you have to question, was this just another one of his hot streaks? Because we see Chytil go on these hot streaks where he looks just unstoppable, looks like one of the best players from that 2017 draft class. And then there are stretches where he is pretty much invisible out there. Tied his total with last season in points with 22 in more games played. So, not good there. He does not win faceoffs. And I really would like him on the wing regardless at some point if he stays. Yeah, I'm not too big on having Filip Chytil take over the reins of the second line center role. His Corsi at even strength was actually above 50% this year. He is getting better, but I don't think that you should keep him around for your number 2 center role. I think he'll be a fine number 3 center, but he would probably be last on the list. And considering what names we have left, he is probably going to stay last. Andrew Copp, questions of whether to bring him back or not. That's where we have the question. And I am personally on the side of I wouldn't go there. And here's my reasoning. I loved Andrew Copp here. I think he's great. His face-off percentage was great, but the thing is that he played a lot of wing, which, yes, versatility is nice, but are we going to pay a guy $5.5 million who is not really a true number 2 center, who took till this year to reach his career high in points? And you have to question how much of that had to do with Artemi Panarin, because 18 points in 16 games played with the Rangers. There's a question to be how much of that was a product of Panarin, just like with Ryan Strome, who, by the way, is not on this list because God no there. I'm just weary about it. I really am, because I don't think he's a true number 2 center. I don't want to pay him $5.5 million to play on the wing when you have a plethora of wingers either way, with Alexi Lafreniere, with Kaapo Kakko as long as he stays, Brandon Hoffman's coming through, Vitaly Kravtsov, and of course you're giving the big bucks to Kreider and Panarin. And you're not going to pay him $5.5 million to be your number 3 centers, and you have a glaring hole at your 2C. I wouldn't do it. And I loved Andrew Copp. I wanted him here. His Corsi was unreal with us, and it's been unreal pretty much his entire career. But I don't know. I'm very on the fence. I'd probably put him below Trojek, maybe on the same level, but I don't know. Next, another bit of an outside shot pick here, Claude Giroux. He was pretty solid in Florida. I don't know who he played with there, but regardless, Claude Giroux is fantastic. He gets in the Selke conversation quite often. Doesn't finish towards the top, but he does finish in the conversation. Last year, 65 points in 75 games played, and pretty much his entire career, he's been a point per game guy, although 16, 17, bit of a yikes there. But he's really put up solid numbers pretty much his entire career. And Corsi percentage, I mean, forget it. Over 50% pretty much his entire career, except for, in 2 games played in 07-08. And, yeah, the guy wins faceoffs. I know he's played a lot on the wing, but still won a very good amount of faceoffs here. I mean, how about this? Over 1,000 faceoff wins in these 2 years. Not too bad. I would love Claude Giroux, but I don't know if he's going to be down to come to New York, given his somewhat loyalty still to Philadelphia. But I would absolutely love Claude Giroux, and I probably would put him behind Kadri on my list. And then we have the name that everyone's kind of been talking about, Mark Scheifele. Now, here is the problem. The guy is notorious for being a piss poor defensive player. Whether that would change under a guy like Gallant, we don't know. But there is no denying this guy puts up points, and there is no denying that he'll put up more points playing with Artemi Panarin, as all of these players would. And he's pretty solid in the face-off dot. Of course, he had even strength. Decent. Pretty decent. The question is, what is the price to get a Mark Scheifele? And is it worth it? My guess is you have to start with a Kravtsov and one of your defensive prospects, as well as a first-round pick, and then throw in a couple other pieces. And you'd also have to question if Winnipeg would be willing to retain some salary, because I don't know if they could take on all of that $6 million. You'd have to try to get them to maybe get it down to like $5.5 or $5 million, somewhere in that range if you could. But overall, I would like Mark Scheifele, and he'd probably be below Claude Giroux on my list. So that is all I got in terms of the options of the number 2 centers. Let me know who you guys want the Rangers number 2 centers to be, especially out of that list. Did I miss anyone? Do you think that there's someone that I completely left off the list that should be there and that should get mentioned as an option? Let me know in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear from you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like, subscribe if you guys are new, especially if you're Ranger fans, and I will see you in the next one. Let's go Rangers.